SMD Law is the official law firm of the Spartan Nation. Check them out on the interwebs at smdalaw.com or at 866-529-3537. No matter where you are in the state of Michigan, Upper Peninsula, Lower Peninsula, it doesn't matter. They have an office near you. So whether you need to send a letter to an annoying neighbor, or you're a criminal and you need defense, maybe you just have problems with elder law, check them out, smdalaw.com today. The official law firm of the Spartan Nation. Call them first, then you act.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back, Spartan Nation. We now head out to legendary state of Michigan. Prep high school football and basketball coach, the one, the only, Spartan Nation longtime contributor, the great Coach Chuck Grenier. Coach, how are you, bud?
Doing great today. How are you?
Man, I am so excited about today's program because it's been a long time since we've literally been able to say the good, the no bad, and the no ugly when talking about Spartan football. Let's start on the offensive side. Offensive coaching on Saturday in a monster win over Western.
Innovative. Threw some stuff in there that we don't usually see. Like the example, the reverse pass to the quarterback, Lewerke. You know, things along that line. I think the blocking scheme and the offensive line did a much better job. I believe that they didn't change the scheme too much, but they ran a lot of counterback action. Throwing on first down, how about that? Catching punts and running them back, how about that? Just a lot of, like what you would see in a regular football team. Not so conservative, but a lot more open. Many, many good things about on Saturday.
I agree, Coach. Let's get right to something I know is a big thing for you and I, but let's talk about that offensive line that exploded off the line. I mean, I told Jordan Reed after the game, I don't know if you saw the interview I put up at Spartan Nation, but I told Jordan Reed after the game, I've never seen him play that well.
Well, you get a little incentive. You get their hair on fire a little bit. They get fired up. And I coached with a guy for a long time that he always told me, the most important muscle to work with as a football player is the one between his ears. And so if that message got through that D'Antonio was talking about you're just not doing your job, basically is what he said. If that message got through and you get them all fired up, that's the big thing. Football is so much physical and technical, but there's also so much of it has to do with the mental part of it. And if he's playing with his hair on fire and playing hard, you just got to love that.
And how about a big shout out to Brian Lewerke, who I thought played exceptionally well?
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought, and I'm not going to be a downer here, but there's 3 Brian Lewerkes out there that we got to take care of. Got to get rid of 2 of them. The first one is when he threw the first pass to the sideline on that hitch streak that went on out there. Feet apart, bad footwork, flat to the receiver, threw the ball behind the receiver. It went nowhere. Another play, the one that I'll show you, this is the one that I really like with Brian Lewerke. Moved his feet, jumped his feet in position, threw that quick slant pass to Stewart. Stewart dropped it. That's one of the drop balls on that one. But it was accurate, it was crisp, and it was fast. That's the Brian Lewerke we got to have. And the other one we got to get rid of is the one that was running sideways, slightly backwards, thrown across his body, and lost one out there for the interception. Those 2 Lewerkes, they were very seldom there during the course of the game. Most of the game, his footwork is in place. His passes were crisp. He was directing the offense, and it was a great job. That's the Brian Lewerke from 2 years ago.
That Brian wasn't even wasn't even there against Tulsa. That's why I thought exceptional.
Oh yeah, I exactly. It was kind of again searching against Tulsa, kind of searching for his way around on the football field against Tulsa. This way, they had a good game plan. They were going to be precise. They're going to be crisp, and he was. And if he can play that way the rest of the year, it's we're in contention for the East for sure.
Coach, I want to get to Elijah Collins. I told you this summer on this show. I think it's Elijah Collins and Anthony Williams are the 2 premier backs. You can have Ladarius as a guy who's a playmaker. You got to get him the ball. But I think the emergence of Elijah, what a game by him. He just ran around and threw and over. And again, I don't know you can say enough about him, but 192 yards. Talk about Elijah.
Well, 192 yards speaks volume right there. But he's a running back. He's a typical tailback running back that has vision in close, was able to make his jump cuts, see something wasn't there, see the crease if it was there. And to tell you the truth, in limited action, and this is what I thought towards the end of the game, when Williams came in, I thought he had more jump, more quick, more everything. He's going to be a good running back, and I think he and Collins are going to contest or be a good 1-2 punch for Michigan State in the future.
Coach, let's get to the receivers where they lose Jalen Naylor, but Darrell Stewart picks up 185 yards and a TD. Cody White looked very good. And again, Matt Dotson had a couple of catches, but again, he had a couple of drops that just didn't make a lot of sense to me. But still, the wide receivers emerging, I'm very happy with their play.
The thing that really stuck out to me was C.J. Hayes. I thought that for the limited passes that he got, when he did catch the ball, he showed aggression, he showed power. The receivers were getting separation. I think Brad Steele put together a real good game plan that he layered the passes instead of clumped the passes. And I thought the wide receivers had a good day. The passes that Stewart was taking on the out routes, they were there against Tulsa. They weren't throwing them effectively at that time. Lewerke used better footwork, better technique, got rid of the ball quicker. And, when you do that, you're just going to have a really great sound day throwing the ball, and that's what happened.
Coach, now I want to switch gears a little bit. 5 touchdowns for Michigan State. So that's 5 PATs and 3 more field goals. Matt Coughlin, let's just talk about this kid. He's special.
Money. That's all you can say. He goes out there in the field right now, and it's money. His field goals, for the most part, are the one that hit the crossbow through, or cross for the upright and went through. Other than that, everything has been right down Park Avenue on those things. So he's doing an excellent job. He looks, and this is the most important thing, I believe. He walks out in the field with such confidence that he's going to make this kick. If you watched the Nebraska game, when that poor kid had to go out there and try to kick that ball, he didn't look like he wanted any part of it. Conklin goes out there, and it just looks like it's money at that time.
Totally agree with you. We're talking to Coach Chuck Grenier. Coach, can you imagine we are 75% of the way through our regular weekly the good, the bad, and the ugly, and haven't said anything bad, and it's all been about the offense. Times are a-changing, friend.
As long as it continues this way, this is going to be Happyville.
No, Coach, I'm not being a negative Nancy at all, but I do want fans to temper themselves a little bit because it was Western. True?
Yeah, true. That's exactly right. They played the game. Michigan State played the game, won the game the way they should have won against Tulsa, the way they should win the game against the MAC team. And I think that's the most exciting part. You just didn't win the game like you did against Tulsa. You won the game the way you should have won the game. So that's the thing to be really happy about.
Coach, let's turn our attention now to the defense where, they just continue to dominate. They look amazing. I was talking to a couple of NFL scouts that could not stop talking about Raequan Williams, so let's start right there.
I'll tell you about Raequan, and I rewatched the game the other day, and Western Michigan broke one along the left sideline, the far sideline there, and was into the secondary and running around in that, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he gets tackled from behind, and it's Raequan. And this was late in the ball game. He ran that kid down 20 yards down the field. That is special. And see him run that well, play that well. He's a problem in there at that one tech. He is a major problem in there for offensive line. He's big, he's strong, he's fast, he's quick. Yeah, Raequan Williams going to play a lot of football before he becomes mayor of Chicago.
And, Coach, we got to hurry it up a little bit, but Kenny Willekes, I mean, now listen, I'm not trying to imply that the scouts were only talking about Raekwon. They were talking about Kenny Willekes. They were talking about Josiah Scott. They were talking about Xavier Hendricks. I mean, they talked about a bunch of players, Joe Bacci, but they all started at Raekwon. Let's go to Kenny Willekes, who everybody was salivating over.
2 sacks again, I believe, on that on Kenny Willekes, and he got that offside penalty. I really watched that game. I couldn't see where he was offside, but 2 sacks. He's a handful also, and constant motor. I think that's what the pro scouts are really impressed with: size, aggression, and a motor. He's got a big-time motor.
Lastly, I want to talk about Josiah Scott because they all really like him. What is the – I mean, you and I understand, but to the average fan, a shutdown corner that doesn't get balls thrown his way, people don't understand how valuable, because they look and say, well, there's no stats or hardly any stats. They don't understand how valuable a shutdown corner is, do they?
Well, I think the NFL scouts are looking at him because he is a shutdown corner, but he is a savage tackler on the outside, too. He is aggressive, comes up, makes sure tackles. They don't throw his way for a reason, and if the ball runs his way, he's up on top of it. I think the pros really like the idea that he is tight coverage, but he's also real aggressive and a firm tackler.
He is the one and only, the great coach Chuck Grenier, the good, the bad, and the ugly with MSU football.